There are many types of model kits. There ranges from airplanes, tanks, cars, anything you can pretty much think of. Model kit houses, but I'm more so into mechs. Now, something you want to take into consideration about a model kit is its size. As you can see, these are various types and sizes of model kits. It can range from really small to really big. And so that you get a better understanding of the size of these model kits, here is a Lego. Since this guy isn't a mecha model kit, we'll get him out of the way. Starting off with the first scale, and one of the easiest model kits to build, is the high grade 1:144 scale Gundam. These model kits are usually easier to build due to its size and its simple build. For those looking to build model kits, I'd recommend building a high grade 1:144 scale for an easier time. Now let's get the 1:144 scale out of the way and move on to the 1:100 scale. Again, here's a Lego for comparison. Now this is the Master Grade Origin Gundam, and with Master Grades, they come with more detail and more parts to them, like opposable hands and other gimmicks. And it's because of their size that they're allowed to have these gimmicks. I say the difficulty on building a model kit of this, if you're just starting out, may take a while, but it's possible. Now what I wouldn't recommend the building for a newcomer is the perfect grades. Now this type of model kit has a lot of gimmicks, pieces, and parts. I wouldn't recommend building this for a newcomer, so we'll move away from this topic. You could build with your hands, but it wouldn't be recommended because you might get a janky model kit that might look like this. Some tools that you'll need is hobby cutters, a hobby knife, and some kind of sanding tool. The most important tool of them all, the plastic cutters, as these will help you remove the parts of your model kits from the runners so that you can build them easier. We'll cover that a bit later. Next thing is sanding. Some kind of sandpaper to help you file down parts where you cut with the plastic cutters, just to clean up the model kit a bit more. It'd be kind of hard if you had a model kit that you wanted to pose and every time you touch it, you got cut by the plastic. And lastly, hobby knife. The hobby knife is the best, but I wouldn't recommend for new people, especially if you're new to building model kits. It's a very fine and sharp blade. I usually use this to clean up parts or maybe even scratch out or remove some chunks of plastic that might be left over. But this is a very important tool, but it's not necessary to finish the build. Now the sanding tool can help clean up those parts that you've just cut. Say for example right here on the leg, if I had a nub right here, I can use the sanding tool and I can just kind of grind away at it slowly until it's either smooth, clean, or there's no more detail right there. Right here would be a spot where I would sand away. And this is just another sand type of sanding. It's just kind of like a finer grit so that it kind of cleans it up a bit more. Now, here comes the fun part. And if you thought I was going to say, build the model kit, no, in fact, we're going to read the booklet. Now, the model kit will usually tell you what part you are building. So right here, this would be building the left arm. Now, these numbers and letters correspond to each part that you need to cut out from the runners. Now, this is an example of these lettering and numbering of the parts. So if we were looking for RB1 to assemble a part, you'd look on this and you would search for the corresponding number. So if I needed this, I would cut this out. Very important to read it properly as you go through and watch the numbering process of which one goes first, just to avoid any part breakage or putting the parts in the wrong way. For the sake of time, I've built some of the legs and body parts already ahead of time so that it would be easier for me to explain the building process. Right here, what we're going to be building right now is the leg. As you can see here, this is where we'll start. Right now we need A3, C8, and E9. Right now I have A9 and C8. Now I just need to get E. Let's see. Right here. And the important thing with the cutting is to be very precise with it. Take your time. And right here, you may be kind of hard to see, but it actually divots in. That's the angle you're gonna want to angle the cutters at. So if this is the kit there and you're cutting, focus in please, or not. Since this is the angle that it cuts at, you'd angle it like this and squeeze, and it'll pop off. Do that for all the parts. And for those who want to clean it up with detail, you can use the X-Acto blade and sandpaper, but for the sake of time, I'm just going to skip over that. And you put these parts together like it does in the manual, and you have the foot. After you go through the entire building process of the model kit, and you make sure that you put all your parts on correctly and properly, you should get your end product. And in the end, when you finish your model kit, and you go through all the steps and you make sure your parts are on, here should be your final product. However, when you finish building your model kit, if you would like to do clean up the details of it, you can always go ahead and get an X-Acto knife, or you can sand it down. And that's pretty much how you build the model kit. Thanks for watching.